Good morning and welcome back to Black Bear Forge. Or perhaps I should say good afternoon, because it's getting a little bit late in the day here. The sun has already gone behind the trees here at the shop, and before long the sun's going to set. So for the hook of the week this week, I thought I would keep things a little bit simple, and we would use a material that a lot of beginning blacksmiths really like to work with, and that is railroad spikes. And railroad spikes can make a number of interesting hooks or parts of hooks or something like that. I pulled 3 of them out of the bucket out there. I got about a dozen of them in a bucket in the yard. And I thought we'd take a look at making a few different styles of hooks out of the railroad spikes. Nothing very fancy, pretty much. The key is that they're all going to look like they were made out of a railroad spike. We're not going to radically change this material. One of the reasons to use a railroad spike is to save the head so people know what it was. And for railroad enthusiasts, that can be a lot of fun. So let's head over to the forge, let's get these hot, and let's get to work. The first one I have in mind is quite simple. It would be meant to go onto a back plate or a wooden board or something like that. I'm going to start just by getting rid of the excess part of the spike because we just need the head end. So I'm cutting this off. Then I'm going to put a little tenon on the end of this. Just butcher in using the guillotine tool. Just have to decide how far to go based on how big of a tenon you might like. And I'm going to use the little tenoning dies to size this down. Take it down square first, and then we'll go octagon. And finally round. Just like any other tenon we've ever done. In use then, this would just be set into a back plate. You probably should monkey this shoulder a little bit or file it square. But either a metal back plate or a wooden timber. You can thread this and put a nut on it if it's going into wood, rivet it over if it's going into a metal back plate. But that is the hook, and something just hangs right there on the end of that. Just an idea. Now this next one, I'm just going to straighten this point out so that it'll lay flat up against the wall, because this will be the top of the hook where the screws go. And I'm going to use a ball end punch to create some places to drill my holes. This will spread this out and leave kind of an interesting effect, I think. I think there are lots of variations of the things you can do with railroad spikes. And I think 2 holes are going to be better on this. Just however deep you want to make those, it really doesn't matter all that much. And then I still want to make sure that's flat against the wall there, but I want to leave the bulges in here because I think that's why I did that. We'll turn this around. And I'm just going to bend this up in a bending fork. Very simple hook idea. And that's really all there is to that. Perhaps a bit of straightening here. Again, don't forge your little depressions for the screws down. There's just a nice simple wall hook made out of a railroad spike. Nothing very special. You might want to clean up the spike head with a file. These are old rusty spikes, so they may have rough surfaces and sharp spots and things like that. Now, in a similar vein, I think I want to put my holes in this third spike up here closer to the head. And turn this one over, and the head will be the top. Now, not only do I want this to kick up a little bit there, I want to encourage that, so I'm going to put this piece of round bar behind it, then drive that back down, and that kicks that up very nicely. Something like that. And then this side I'm going to draw out a little bit to make the lower part of the hook. Again, don't damage your little dimples for the screw holes. I'll just clean up the taper on the face of the anvil. Knock the sharp edges off. I'm just going to put a little bit of a roll on there. I'm not going to curl it all the way over. Just an aesthetic consideration. So, but whatever you'd like to do on your hook. And that bent a little bit further up than I would have liked it to, so I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. I do want the lower part of the hook to sit against the wall, even though I don't want the upper part of the hook to sit against the wall. And I think I'll just put a little bit more bend in that. It's just all whatever you'd like to have your hook look like. I'm mostly doing these as proof of concept or just exploring ideas here, so I don't have a firm plan in mind for these. So that's just kind of me thinking out loud. I've never made a hook out of a railroad spike, so I figured what the heck, and I know some people really like to use railroad spikes for simple beginners projects, so hopefully this gave you some kind of an idea. I think for any one of these hooks, you could take this in any direction you want. There are probably several dozen variations on any of these. Just let your imagination go with it. Try some different things. I kind of see some things that I might do different the next time. I think I might like this hook bent out a little bit more so you get more on there. But there's enough space there to hang your hat on that hook if you need to. By the way, I didn't pick it up because these are still way too hot to touch. And I think this one would look really good if you had 3 or 5 of them. Odd numbers, I think, always look a little bit better. And put them in a board, maybe a live edge board that was a little bit rustic looking. Make a really nice looking coat rack. This one's real simple, not a bad hook, but it's probably the one I'm least likely to make more of. Now remember, if you're looking for railroad spikes, the railroads are very strict about people trespassing on their property. It's dangerous, it's legal, they do prosecute. Stay off the railroad right-of-ways. If you see a crew working on the track and you can park someplace that's off the right-of-way on the side of a county road or something and get their attention, maybe they'll give you some spikes. It doesn't hurt to ask, but if you can't get used spikes, you can get brand new spikes that aren't all rusty, they're not bent up, they're not twisted, they don't have ragged edges all over the heads, and they're probably better to work with. And I know at least McMaster Carr sells brand new railroad spikes. So if you can't find used ones that are safe to acquire, check out McMaster Carr, check out other industrial suppliers. Railroad spikes are available. You don't have to trespass on the railroad property to get them. I know that was a quick hook of the week this week, but the sun's about to set, it's getting dark, it's getting colder in here, so I'm going to head into the house. I got a video to edit. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button down there. Ring the bell next to the subscribe button if you'd like to be notified when I make new videos. Stick around, watch a few of the other videos, share the videos with your friends, but then make time in your day to get out to your shop. Stay safe, wear your safety glasses, and stay off the railroad right away. We'll see you next week.